out 1 hour of 5-Yard Rush, one of the best podcasts on NFL football in the UK.
What is happening, Rush Nation? We are back. We've the matchup show part 2. Couldn't have got yesterday's game more wrong. 49ers did extremely well. The Rams just were a bit short, and Kendrick Bourne went off for an absolute stormer, which is not something I saw coming. But again, when you just got those situations and you just don't know, again, I always think it's just best to fade the situation and be out of it. So the advice was right. Just if you want to sprinkle, go for someone deep and like MVS, and it didn't happen. But again, I just think those situations, if you play Bourne, I don't like you make those risks, and 10% of the time it'll work, and 90% of the time it won't work. And yeah, we are where we are in terms of that particular game. I am surprised to find that the 49ers are 5-0 with no one available. And the Rams will definitely be kicking themselves, as that's an opportunity definitely missed. But we're going to get into the last 6 games on Sunday and Monday. So we've got the late slate, and then we've got Sunday night football and Monday night football. So this late slate, you got 2 in the 4:05, 9:05 slate, and then 2 in the 4:25, 9:25 slate. And then you have these Sunday and Monday night games. We're going to start with definitely the well, there's a lot of blowouts here, and this doesn't feel like a very competitive week. We're going to start with the Cardinals versus the Titans. Cardinals favored by 7.5. Over under set at 42.5. And yeah, again, this one is the Titans. I talked about it on yesterday's show. They're just struggling on offense. You know, Calvin Ridley's pretty much a bench at this point. You can't really start him. You're pretty much in a position now where the Cardinals will do what they got to do to get it done. The Titans, there isn't really much hope. Tajay Spears will be back at some point, but that offense is really difficult to start too many players from there. So this should be a fairly low-scoring game. There shouldn't be too much there. We've got obviously the situation with the running backs, which we broke down last night. I think Democado is going to get the run of it. I'm just not willing to bet Michael Carter like most of the population is, and I kind of gave my reasoning to why in last night's show, so go back and listen to that. It's not negative for anyone else. It's just I think Democato's been in this role before. He's done it before. I tend to follow those trends. That's how I am as an analyst. So that's where we are. We'll break this down. Kyler Murray is my quarterback 12 this week. Cam Ward is down at 25 this week, and not someone that I would be looking to start this season really in any format. We get to the running backs here. Tony Pollard is at 22. I have Democado at 25. I have Michael Carter at 50. That gives you a feel for where I've got this backfield evaluated. All these rankings are half-point PPR, by the way. Marvin Harrison Jr. is at 21 this week. Eilika Iomanor is at 33. Calvin Ridley's down at 57. Michael Wilson's at 63. I think he's someone that could get a bit of an uplift with the running game. I think they might feel more comfortable passing the ball now. And I think you might see more of Michael Wilson. But the guy I think is going to get the biggest trend up of these injuries at the running back position is Trey McBride. He's my tight end one this week. I think you're going to see him get used quite a lot. Chicken Kwaku is down at 23. Not someone I'm sort of banking on to do too much here. And then you've got the Cardinals DST are at 4 this week. The Tennessee Titans are at 25. And then you have got Chad Ryland, he's at 12. And Joey Sly is at 24. Next game on the slate is the Seahawks versus the Buccaneers. Seahawks are favored by 3.5 points over under set 44.5. Not a big shock that this is where the line is, given Tampa somewhat struggles with injuries, and there's no Bucky Irving, there's no Mike Evans. They've been ruled out. There's no, the offensive line has got some challenges, but I the way I look at this game is it will be a really difficult game. I think in terms of these teams, it will be very physical. I think both teams will find it difficult to sort of strike any momentum. And I think as a result, I think it will be a close run thing. And I'd go the loss score kind of wins here. And if that's the case and the Bucs have the ball, you would fancy Baker Mayfield given what he's been doing in the second half of games this season. So yeah, I think the line's probably fair, but I do think the Buccaneers have a good chance to win this game. I Baker Mayfield at 10 this week. He looks like he's going to be good to go. He's been a full practice. Sam Darnold is at 16. Again, I think he's performing reasonably well. I think he's sort of becoming that sort of safe pair of hands here. Running backs here, I have Kenneth Walker at 16. Rashad White, who I think will probably start as the lead back, but keep an eye on Sean Tucker. He's at 24. Zach Charbonnet at 29. I have Sean Tucker at 35. And I think if I'm looking at ownership here, Sean Tucker's the guy I want to own because I think he's got the guy with the high ceiling. I talked about this on last night's show. Feel free to go check that out. Jackson Smith and Jigba's at 3. Emeka Ibuka is at 8. Chris Godwin is at 23. Cooper Kupp is at 40. Sterling Shepard is at 54. And that's where I am with the wide receivers in this game. So plenty of action here for any of those wide receivers. And then as for the tight ends, then no one in this game I really want to start. They're all the way down at 26, 27, and 29, which is Barnett, Iroyo, and Otten. So I'm kind of fading everyone here. And then next up is Seattle Seahawks. They're at 11, and Tampa Bay are at 13. And then the kickers, Chase McLaughlin, by the way, kicking the longest outdoor field goal in NFL history last week at 65 yards. He is at 7. Jason Myers is at 8 this week. Definitely think this is the best game of the slate as well. I think it's the most competitive. But, well, and there's another one coming that's pretty good as well, I suppose. There'll be the two games to watch. The next game up is the Bengals versus the Lions. Lions are favored by 10.5 points. Not a surprise. The Bengals have been absolutely awful. Over under set 49.5. I feel that's probably a little high. I think given that the Bengals only put 3 points up on Monday, I feel like that's a little high. But we will see how that goes. Jared Goff, he is my quarterback 9 this week. Jake Browning is down at 23. Moving on to the running backs here. Jabari Gibbs is at 3. David Montgomery's at 21. Chase Brown is at 23 this week. And then moving on to the wide receivers, Amon Russell Brown's at 2. Jamar Chase is at 9. Jameson Williams is at 26. T. Higgins is at 31. So they're the 4 that you can definitely start in this game. And then the tight ends, of course, Sam Laporta is at 8. Mike Gesicki is all the way down at 30. Noah Fant has a chance to play. I haven't actually got. I've got him ranked at 52. He will probably move up in my rankings when I reset them, but he will probably be again probably 30, 31. They're just not really getting the ball around there to the tight ends all that much at the moment. They're really struggling. As for the DSTs, I have the Detroit Lions at 3 this week. And I have the Cincinnati Bengals stone dead last at 28. And then the kickers. I have Jake Bates at 6. And I have Evan McPherson at 22. The other really interesting game of this late slate is the Commanders versus the Chargers. Chargers coming off a pretty bad loss last week. And then you have the Washington Commanders, who look like they're going to have Jaden Daniels back after some time out with injury. He looks like he's practicing and is good to go. So we have Justin Herbert at 4, Jaden Daniels at 5. I think this will be a pretty good scoring game. Over-under is set at 47.5, and that feels pretty good. With the Chargers favored by 2.5. Again, I think this will be a close game. So I see lots of points here, and I think the quarterbacks will be right at the heart of it, which will be great to see. As for the running backs here, Marion Hampton is my running back 10 this week. He's higher than usual, but I think this is going to suit him. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is at 30. Chris Rodriguez is at 36. Wide receivers here, no Terry McLaurin. He is out this week. So you have Quentin Johnston on his meteoric rise at 10. Deebo Samuel at 19. And then you have Lamp McConkey at 24. Keenan Allen at 25. This week, they're the only wide receivers I would be starting. As for the tight ends, Zach Ertz is at 12. Orlando Gadsden, he's at 25 this week. And then as for the DSTs, 16 for the Chargers, 24 for the Commanders. And if you've got Dicker, the kicker, he is 5 in my rankings this week. Matt Gay is at 14. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, Bills versus Patriots, and the Bills are favored by 8.5. Over under feels very high here, 49.5. it shows some respect to the Patriots offense, and Drake May has been outstanding this season, so probably not too much of a shock. But at the same token, I do find that that's probably a little high. But we'll see what happens. Should be a decent Sunday Night Football if you're staying up for that one. Josh Allen is my QB1 this week, and Drake May is my QB6. Moving on to the running backs, James Cook, he's at 5. Trayvon Henderson is at 26. Ramondre Stevenson is at 28. And then I have Gibson, Ty Johnson, and Ray Davis at 48, 51, and 52, respectively. So definitely not plays I would be putting in this week. And then the wide receivers, I don't have a wide receiver in this game inside the top 25. In fact, the nearest one is Stephon Diggs, who's at 29. Just not getting downfield. Keon Coleman's at 32. Khalil Shakir is at 39. Keyshawn Booty is at 49. Josh Palmer is at 58. This could be a game where you fade every receiver. And if you have a particular feeling about one, then fine, but I wouldn't say it's a great process. Hunter Henry is my tight end 5. He always seems to score a touchdown against Buffalo, and I'm banking on that again. Dalton Kincaid is at 7. That usage is going upwards. I would just like him to run some more routes. If that happens, we've got a Dalton Kincaid mini breakout occurring. Buffalo Bills are at my DST 6. The Patriots are at 27. I do think they will ship some points this week. And then Matt Prater is currently my kicker 3, but there is some concern that whether or not he will actually go versus Tyler Bass. We're waiting to see what happens with Bass, and does he come off IR? So keep an eye on that situation. That's one you're definitely going to need to keep an eye on. So make sure you do. In terms of Borregales, he's at 25 this week. And so then we get on to Monday Night Football, and it's the Jaguars versus the Chiefs. This should be a good game. Chiefs favored by 3.5. Jaguars have been better than expected this season. I think Code is working his magic, despite the fact that offense has been a bit stuttering. It's been based and predicated entirely on the run game. Over under set 46.5. This is going to be a really interesting game. We're going to really find out who the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars are in this game. I do think the Chiefs will win it. I think they'll win it reasonably comfortably as well. I think it'll be by more than what is Vegas is presenting. I just think that if you put Trevor Lawrence in a tough spot, he more often than not has not come through it. So we're going to see what happens here. Patrick Mahomes, he's at quarterback 8. Trevor Lawrence is down at 20, and that is why I have Trevor Lawrence at 20. I'm just not feeling that this game will be won by him. And I think that if the Chiefs can stop Travis Etienne, I have him at 15, then that will be the path to victory for this game. Isaiah Pacheco is at 34. Kareem Hunt is at 37. Bashar Tootin is at 39. Rashad Smith is at 49. He's a 3-headed monster in Kansas City. I don't want any part of that and starting any part of that 3-headed backfield. But if I had to own one, Rashad Smith is the guy I would own. He's the guy in the ascendancy, and it is Pacheco that's in the decline. And we've seen this story a few times in Kansas City over the years already. Xavier Worthy is 13 this week. This will be his last game without Rashee Rice. Brian Thomas is at 17. I'm backing a resurgence of Brian Thomas Jr. this week. Marquise Brown is at 41. Travis Hunter is at 43. Tyquan Thornton is at 56. Juju at 61. Parker Washington at 64. For those of you that are in super deep leagues, want to make sure I've got you covered. Travis Kelce, he's at my tight end 9 this week. Brenton Strange is at 14. Both are very startable options this week. As for the DSTs, I have the Chiefs at 10. I have the Jaguars at 20. And then just to finish all of this up, I have the kickers. Harrison Butker is at 4. Cam Little is at 17. And that is going to do it. That is the matchup show for week 5. These shows will be a little bit shorter going forward because there'll be more and more teams on buys, but that's fine. That's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that you get your hit. Everything is set. Good luck if you're traveling to London or going to the London games. Hopefully I'll see you there. Drop me up on socials, or especially the Discord. I'm more likely to see it there than I am on socials. So do hit me up. Be great to see as many of you as possible. I'll probably be a little late to the game, but I will be around afterwards. Going to watch Red Zone and something else from elsewhere. But until then, Rush Nation, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the NFL. And I will be back next week with some waiver wire picks. But until then, keep rushing.